Sadnam. We are Jen and Ramtin from Heart Center Revolution.
Our intention with this podcast is to share the best of Kundalini Yoga and conscious living with you so you can live a more heart-centered life. Satnam Revolutionaries, and welcome to episode 50 of the Heart Centered or Revolution podcast. In this episode, we are going to dissect a passage from one of our favorite books from one of our favorite teachers, Guru Singh. So you're in for a treat as we kind of dissect this very short passage from one of our favorite books. In the episode description, I will leave some links where you can find the book and where you can connect further with Guru Singh if you feel called to. He's kind of like a teacher's teacher. So if Heart Centered Revolution is like your first entree into the spiritual world or the yoga world, then his stuff might feel like overwhelming or too abstract. But if you've been in this world for a while, or if you just feel really called to learn more from him, please check him out. His stuff is absolutely incredible. So after our discussion about one of these teachings from Guru Singh, I will lead you through a pranayama that is healing, energizing, and uplifting. And I know every one of us needs something like that, a tool that is uplifting and energizing from time to time in our life. And if you've been enjoying these episodes, please follow us, subscribe wherever you're listening. It just lets us know that you're out there. It makes it really easy for you to be notified and have access to episodes as we put them out. All right, so here we go into our discussion for the day. Okay, for our discussion today, we have a real treat for you for episode 50. We are going to share one of the small gems of teachings from one of our favorite teachers and leaders on this planet right now, Guru Singh. Guru Singh is one of the master Kundalini teachers on this planet, but he incorporates so much more than Kundalini. He incorporates science. He incorporates some indigenous teachings. He was born into a long lineage of yogis, and so he has a lot of yogic wisdom above and beyond just the Kundalini Yoga spectrum. We find him so inspiring. His whole message is about being leaders and teachers on this planet, and so if that's the kind of thing that resonates with you, you'll definitely want to check out all of his material. But what we want to share today is just one passage from one of his books that we love so much. And so we're just so happy to share his wisdom anytime that we feel like it resonates. And so this passage is from his book called Levity. And so the book Levity means so much to Ramtin. So Ramtin, why don't you share a little bit about the book?
Yes, hello everyone. As Jen mentioned, we truly respect and follow Guru Singh's teachings. His teachings mean so much to us, and we have learned and benefited from his teachings personally and in our work so much. His words are truly just come from a pure consciousness, pure connection to the spiritual realm, I think. And, he, as Jen mentioned, he has a way of bringing every aspect of his teachings into a very simple form. His spiritual, scientific, common sense, and logical aspect of every part of who we are into a one point for us to really connect with. So the book Levity, I see it as my Bible, so to speak. And every morning when I wake up, I randomly pick a passage. They're short chapters, if you will, and a passage of it, and just read it. And it happens that I guess doesn't matter which passage it is, it just speaks to me. And sometimes it exactly answers what I need. A question I may have had, or something's on my mind, or just something that just jumps out at me that I may have thought about a while ago. The page that pops up, I just read it. There's a longer, like 2 page or a page and a half passages, and they're like half page or a paragraph passages that are there. So, Jen will read one of these passages that we want to kind of discuss today, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So I'll read it 2 times because it just kind of is helpful to hear it twice. And so this is one of the shorter passages from Guru Singh. It says, "In the material universe, for every action, there is an equal reaction. Then there are moments in all lives when it clearly seems that this equality and fairness has all but disappeared, that life follows a randomly generated, painfully unguided path. These are the moments that the wisdom keepers would relish and say, bolt your butt to the ground or to the mat. Stretch into your body glove, deeply pray, silently meditate. For these are the moments where the equal and opposite is an impending miracle. Our prayer is that when these absurd moments arrive, do just this. Look for the miracles. They are right there." Okay, I'll read that one more time. So, in the material universe, for every action, there is an equal reaction. Then there are moments in all lives when it clearly seems that this equality and fairness has all but disappeared, that life follows a randomly generated, painfully unguided path. These are the moments that the wisdom keepers would relish and say, bolt your butt to the ground or to the mat, stretch into your body glove, deeply pray, silently meditate. For these are the moments where the equal and opposite is an impending miracle. Our prayer is that when these absurd moments arrive, do just this. Look for the miracles, for they are right there.
There's so much just given to us, and there's so much in this short passage, if you will, that you could connect with and you could dissect for yourself. You could just simply take it as at face value, and what it tells you to do is do the work, do the practice. That's what is needed. And interestingly enough, in past month or so, the site discussions that have been coming up with my clients has been that we have to do the work. Discipline is the key. Is nothing new, but is more imperative these days for discipline to be there. There's so much energy is moving around as a fast and in a faster pace. The speed of how things grow and how things change in this day and age is so rapid. The speed of how things change and the transformations that take place, and simply by just information moving around and how we receive and send information to each other, and how our consciousness is just continuously is expanding and learning one way or the other, good or bad. We are, our awareness of things has become much more rapid, and therefore uh, things just move faster. Time seems to be moving faster, and as we are bombarded by with more information in our personal life and beyond, it is getting harder and harder for us to be able to focus, and having a discipline of your choice to truly practice it on a daily basis is such a is that's the difference maker. That's the difference for us. And simply, when we do face any challenges, ups and downs in life, we got to commit to something. Simplify our focus to commit to one practice of our choice to be able to ground ourselves, to connect with our deeper self. That's what the deeply prayer means here. That deeper self within, that heart centered, that we everyone possesses, and that level of consciousness within our heart that's unconditional, that as we tap into that level of consciousness through prayer, now we're able to expand our consciousness. And then as we sit silently in meditation, then we receive the messages that are coming through that on the unconditional consciousness.
It's so true. And like the importance of a commitment or consistency of some sort of practice of connection and alignment, because these things don't happen accidentally. Especially if you're going through a hard time, they don't happen accidentally. And what I really love about this passage is it brings to my mind the idea of like a dark night of the soul. And we all have periods of life where things just seem to be going wrong, and a lot of bad news all at once, or maybe it's internal, like a lot of inner turmoil all at once, and it can seem like it comes out of nowhere and can really rock your world. And I love this reframe that if if everything in the universe has an equal reaction, that in that state of contraction, there's going to be, or there's the opportunity and the potential for an equal and opposite expansion. And it's, what are you putting in place to see the signs and feel the intuition and that inner guidance of how to expand, how to use this contraction, this period of contraction and sometimes stress or emotional difficulty, um, learning new ways to think, like how are you using this time of increased friction in your life? Like what practices are in place to really use that as a slingshot for your next huge arc of expansion and growth, and creating and cultivating depth within yourself and your connection to the infinite or to others, because there's really the seed of that expansion is in the contraction.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we learned that everything has its cause and effect, and the cause and effect aspect of our consciousness is the mental aspect. And the universal mind also works as such. And at the spiritual level, there are different levels of consciousness. And these levels of consciousness, as we learn about law of attraction, as we learn about other laws, there's a cause and effect aspect of it that is in place. And as above, so below, so everything that affects us, the laws that affects us in this realm, in this level of consciousness, so they're in operation at the higher level and vice versa. How we sort of formulate that and how we navigate through that cause and effect, that the the variations of the energy and the consciousness as we perceive it, is by connecting to our heart center. That's the place that we possess as human beings, that we could connect to go to that deep self within, as a form of escape sometimes, as a form of guidance, receiving guidance,
Mm-hmm.
as a form of connecting to, when we say answers are within, this is where we find it. Throughout the years, the evolution of our consciousness has taken a turn that we have focused mainly on the mental aspect of our consciousness, and the value that we give to the whole existence of who we are is mainly towards what we achieve and what we see tangibly that has been credited to the mental aspect of our consciousness. We're turning that around. We have to
Mm-hmm.
do that within our own consciousness to begin with, valuing what we possess within in a form of compassion, kindness, love, and the vibrational part of us that creates everything else in the external part of us. And again, as we sit, as it mentioned uh, in the passage, as we sit down and do our practice, move the energy with the physical activities, exercises, and then get deep inside of us within that heart center, and then become silent. And the silent part is the mental part. As we silence ourselves and then tap in, allow ourselves to fall in that level of consciousness within our heart, that brings more clarity. and bring the answers we're looking for, more direction. We become enlightened.
That was so beautiful. The word that came to me, because I'm thinking in this passage in terms of the periods of life that feel like your equality and fairness have all but disappeared. And that's really a mindset, right? That's really in your mind. That's kind of a thing you would think like this isn't fair essentially. But if you tap into your heart, it's almost like fairness. There is no unfair. Like your heart is just unity. There isn't fair and unfair. It just is love. It just is. And that's where your healing can come from if you're going through a hard time, is using these practices like meditation or yoga or walking or whatever practice really resonates with you, to drop into your heart center, just like Ramtin said. And that's where the healing happens. And that's where those miracles make themselves known to you.
You said that the word miracle that's mentioned also, uh, you know, connecting with the the phenomenon of miracles and how we could create it for ourselves. That changes our perspective, our belief, the belief system that is created around the world, different worlds that are uttered out there religiously. Then we could
Mm-hmm.
own it personally and, give it a true meaning that it has.
Yeah. And that's miracles really only happen through the heart center because our mind is too skeptical to give credit to a miracle.
Yeah, defining
Um,
what a miracle is, something that it could be, we could give it different definitions, or alter it a little bit, but it's just pretty much is like something that we don't expect, or even we don't believe in something that could happen. We say we believe in miracles in general, but when it comes to something specific, we may not have that belief,
yeah,
or
are
the
we
expectation or understanding. And when it occurs, then we say, oh, it's a miracle,
mhm.
you know?
And like, are you in a place where you're willing to accept that there are miracles in your life? Um, and that to me is the heart center. Like if you're in that openness and you're open to there being a little magic in your life, then you both allow it in, and when it happens, you're in a vibration where you can recognize a miracle when it happens.
Exactly. That's a very key thing. Being in that vibration to recognize it, to be your awareness now has expanded. The consciousness has gotten to a point that you see it. Seeing it could be visual, feeling it in other ways, but you're aware of it now. That's a very key thing.
Yeah. Do you have any last thoughts on this passage, Rompton?
No, I think we said enough about it. I mean, not enough, but as far as we covered, a good discussion about what it means to us, and I'm pretty sure people who listen to this and as you read it, they'll have their own connection
Mm-hmm.
and their own interpretation, and I'm pretty sure everyone would benefit from just hearing it.
Yeah. And I think like we've been alluding to, the like revolutionary action to take to kind of tap into your heart center is when you are in moments where life is feeling unfair, to get really present with yourself and to meditate or pray, and avoid the impulse to kind of disassociate or distract all the time. Definitely dedicate some time to connecting with yourself and with your heart and with the moment as it is, because that will allow these miracles and the growth to unfold. Beautiful. Let's transition into our pranayama for the day. So go ahead and sit up nice and tall, elongating your spine, your shoulders coming up, back, and down, lifting the crown of your head tall, tucking the chin down and back, ever so slightly opening the back of the neck. You can rest your hands or your palms in your lap. Relax your facial muscles. Relax any muscles that you notice you're holding that are tight. And we'll begin with just a basic long, deep breath, inhaling through the nose, Feeling the stomach expand as you fill up. Exhale through the nose. Exhaling gently, exhaling completely. Take a couple more long, deep breaths like that and begin to center your mind. When we begin our pranayama, we are going to practice breaking these breaths into segments, into sniffs. So don't do it yet. Let me explain, and then we'll begin together. Just continue with your long, deep breathing for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to break the inhale into 4 separate, distinct sniffs. So it'll be something like this. So there's a small pause between each one, and then we'll do one long exhale. Again, inhaling in 4. Exhale, one long exhale. Okay, so now that you know the plan, let's begin together. So take a long, normal inhale. Complete exhale. Inhale in 4 sniffs. Exhale, one long, relaxed exhale. Inhale in 4. Exhale, 1. Keeping up this pattern, notice if you've added any tension to your cheeks and let it go. If you feel comfortable and you haven't already, please close your eyes. And while we're manipulating the breath, still strive to be relaxed. The pauses and the segments really coming more from the diaphragm in the body than trying to squeeze your face or your nose shut. We'll continue for a couple more minutes like this. Going at any pace that works for you, making sure to get a complete inhale and exhale even as we manipulate the breath. If you like to have an eye focus, you can focus your eyes at the third eye. We're almost there, about another minute. After your next exhale, inhale deeply. Suspend the breath gently, sitting up nice and tall, opening the chest. You can squeeze your body gently like a tube of toothpaste, squeezing the energy up the central channel, out the crown of the head. Exhaling completely when you need to. And relaxing the body, relaxing the breath. Just checking in with yourself. Noticing any mental, emotional, and spiritual shifts as a part of this pranayama. It's meant to provide healing, energy, and help you feel uplifted. Was that the case for you today? When you're ready, blink open your eyes. And remember that these pranayamas are always here for you when you need them. So you can rely on them. You can shift your energy in just a few minutes anytime you want to. What a great discussion and time we had here today. So your inspired action for this episode is, if you're having a hard time or feeling disconnected or just like things aren't quite going your way, really try to develop some consistency in connecting with your heart. And this doesn't have to be a huge commitment. I'm not saying you have to do 90 minutes of yoga every day if that's not realistic for you. But even something as simple as a 3-minute pranayama like we just did here once or twice a day will really help bring you back into your heart. And that shift in perspective will help get you through tough times with more grace and more insight and awareness and some inspired action as to how to move forward. And we can't often rush out of difficult times, but sometimes inspired action can kind of make them more tolerable, but also help us move them along a little quicker than they would otherwise, or at least not make a bad situation worse, which we tend to do when we're in our mind too much. We really enjoyed sharing this teaching with you and connecting with you today. As I said in the episode description, we'll leave some ways that you can get this book or connect further with Guru Singh. I also wanted to remind you that Ramtin has spiritual counseling sessions available now. He is, the certified Kundalini Yoga and meditation teacher, but he's also a clinical hypnotherapist. That's what he does. Outside of Heart-Centered Revolution, has a practice of hypnotherapy. And this kind of the spiritual and the hypnotherapy really can combine to help you overcome the barriers or blocks that you're feeling in your life. Or if you're feeling stuck, then, we call it spiritual counseling, but it's this combination of using Kundalini Yoga, hypnosis, hypnotherapy, some cognitive behavioral therapy, or interventions. And Ramtin is just so insightful. He can really listen to what you're going through, and he has an acute ability to kind of pinpoint what the blocks are or what shifts in thinking might need to be done to just unlock that next phase for you. He does really incredible work. So if you're interested in learning more, you can go to heartcenteredrevolution.com/spiritual counseling. Again, it's heartcenteredrevolution.com/spiritual counseling. And you can get like an introductory session just to get to know him. So that's on that website too, if you want to learn more. I'll put the link to that in the episode description as well. But we love you so much. We hope you have a wonderful day. And don't forget to be revolutionary.